Welcome to this episode of the Outfront Podcast with host Vince Noble, the podcast that gives emerging leaders and career transitioning individuals the information and inspiration to thrive and become their best. For sponsorship and advertisement opportunities, please contact info@nobleresolutions.com. And now, your host, Vince Noble.
I want to acknowledge each and every one of you who is stepping into your authentic power today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Outfront Podcast, the show that gives emerging leaders and career transitioning individuals the information and inspiration to thrive and become their best. I am your host, Vince Noble. Hey, I know we're 23 days into the new year, but first and foremost, let me start by saying Happy New Year to every one of you. And I certainly pray that all of you had a wonderful holiday season. All things considered, I understand, we're all still making the very best of our current situation. But I think most of us, in fact, are truly getting to the point where we realize, just how, agile and adaptive we truly can be. And so I don't think no one on planet Earth has been not praying some sort of prayer that 2021 start much differently than the way 2020 had ended. And so we're all on this mental marathon together. That's what it is. It's a bit of a mental marathon. And you have to understand, first and foremost, where you are spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically, and seek out, the help that you may need, and to better understand in what manner are you to continue to navigate during this pandemic going forward. And you can't be, afraid to seek out help for yourself, your family member or team member, because the reality of it is at some point, you have to address the true stage of where you are psychologically and emotionally at the right time, with a willingness to slow down and truly explore where the changing power is. There's no shame. There's absolutely no shame in reaching out. So let's be honest, most of us are going through some rough times, and most of us has been conditioned to respond with "I'm good." But it's okay sometimes to simply say no, I'm not good at the moment, and seek out help. But even in these times, I want to encourage you to get into position and make room for what's next to come in your life. And so, as we all know, particularly in America, we have, sort of started the year off with a great deal of difficulty. Not only are we dealing with the whole COVID realities, but we are also dealing with converging social and political and socio-economic consequences as we progress and continue to adjust to what could potentially be a couple more years of turbulence. It will require many working together with team development everywhere on every level. So in part, what inspired me to develop this show was to continue my personal natural progression of serving others and to sort of become a connector, if you will. A connector in a much different capacity of bringing people together, adding real value, real sustainable value to another human being. And so the past year I have been sort of grateful to all of you that had supported this podcast, that have helped the Outfront Podcast catapult to a top 2% globally ranked podcast. And I'm excited I am excited about the value we continue to deliver. And so this idea of efficient, dynamic teamwork can be what sets teams apart under any circumstance. And so it's a fact. It has been proven to be one of the key driving forces behind performance. Although, effective collaboration has always been important, the digital age has made it all the more crucial. Our increasingly digital world of work has caused a shift from the traditional functional hierarchy that most of us know to one of a network of teams. You see, I believe COVID-19 and its effect on our personal and professional lives has now amplified this further even more, making strong teams even more the key to our success. So, beloved, 2020 was an extremely challenging year for many of us personally, myself as well. I lost my father at the outstart of the pandemic due to COVID complications, and as well as several close colleagues of mine. But in truth, it has been the thing that has caused me to come closer to that inner circle, to teams of people that I believe that was adding real value to my life. And so it has been because of those teams being supportive of whatever was going on at the time and figuring out in motion, if you will, how and when to shift or pivot together. It has been key. So this idea of what makes a high-performing team, especially during a pandemic, and how do we sort of foster these characteristics in our workplace, our cities and communities and homes, is worthy of our continuous attention. Let me share a few of my perspectives on team development that have served me well over the years, and many of which were tried and tested and refined over time. You see, whenever I ask an individual, what is the number one thing you look for or expect in an organization, and time again I'm told, I want a feeling of purpose. You see, successful teams are made up of individuals who are all working together toward the same goals, and this becomes even more important when many teams and sub-teams are no longer working from the same physical space or geographical location. So when team members understand and are sort of aligned with the goals and culture and values of an organization, they are more motivated to continue and contribute to them, and they are more likely to act and make decisions in accordance with them too. It's therefore, sort of necessary that these are clearly and frequently communicated and reinforced by team leaders, whether it be, a short-term project or an entire company. It's important to communicate to people their worthiness, their contributions, and creating a sense of purpose within your team. That's extremely important. And so, each team member, they should know their role within that team and exactly how they are contributing to the common goal. When people, sort of appreciate how their individual contribution helps to advance goals, and they'll find meaningful ways to continue to contribute to the team. They'll likely be more engaged. And you don't have to find individuals on the team with no engagement, drawing a salary or riding a bench, if you will. they'll become more motivated and more likely to perform at high levels when they understand. There's a study that shows a massive 93% of respondents believe that a sense of belonging drives organizational performance. This means that everyone's roles and responsibility should be clarifying that everyone should be helping out with everything. Sometimes that could be the driving force, where everyone understands that everyone's role is helping out in some way with everything. The importance of communicating in any type of relationship is no secret, and this is true for teams in a professional context as well, especially again in our increasingly digital and remote working environments. It's important to continue to create and develop the right spaces on and offline for team members to get together, to collaborate, to engage in open conversations, sort of fostering the right organizational climate to voice concerns can ensure that everyone remains on the same page. I believe these types of leadership initiatives can drive forward momentum and allow conflict to be addressed before it causes any real issues within your teams and organizations. So an overwhelming number of people, they report that having a sense of community and identifying with a defined group, that connection is the biggest driver of belonging. Instilling, that mentality of, if one person wins, we all win. It's instilling that mentality. If one person eats, we all gonna eat. See, that can foster meaningful, authentic relationship between team members and encourage people to help each other and leverage, those individual strengths for the benefit of the team. See, I believe positive relationships also allow people to feel comfortable sharing their views and engaging in constructive conflict, helping to generate new insight. You see, the best teams are consistently finding ways to improve, and the most effective ways to do this is to create an environment that encourages innovation. When the leaders demonstrate a learning mentality, everyone tends to catch on and follow. It's contagious. This means allowing for and adapting from, those mistakes and experimentations and failure even, actively encouraging it in some instances. I believe this allows different perspectives and ideas to thrive, leading to a team that adjusts and adapts because new information, and this new information, everyone in the organization, everyone on the team is better because of it. I often ask people, what is your first response when you hear the word feedback? Feedback it's always received negatively a lot of times. However, most people, when they hear the word feedback, they're naturally, there's a part of them sort of knuckle up when they hear the word feedback. They view it as some sort of a personal attack because too often feedback has been weaponized. Some people never give positive feedback. It's always the other side of that same coin. So, different forms of feedback are integral to building high-performing teams. I believe constructive feedback will spur development in parts of your organization and individuals that you never really realized or materialized in a way. So, good positive feedback, it's also celebrating good work and showing, that sort of appreciation for team members, their individual and as well as their collective contributions to the team. And the third aspect of feedback, I believe, is measuring impact both in order to highlight what a team's work has resulted in, and in order to see a better approach and what needs to be adopted, should I say, based on information learned. So listen, I am super excited what 2021 will bring, and I've decided that I will bring massive value to what we have on this show. We certainly hope that you've enjoyed today's episode. So make sure you join our Facebook group, Out Front with Vince Noble. And don't forget to comment, rate, share, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you download your podcast. Until next time, remember, you still get to write your own life story.
Out Front with Vince Noble, the weekly podcast that gives emerging leaders and career transitioning individuals the information and inspiration to thrive and become their best. Available wherever you download or listen to your podcasts.